So this is a great experiment. This is the first time I'm actually doing anything for work with my voice in about 2 weeks.
Awesome.
It's going really well.
Do you want me to horse mine up a little bit?
If you could do that, that would be actually...
Yeah, man, so let's do it.
Well, congratulations on Parallel coming out. It's
Thank you.
out now.
It's out.
People can buy it. They can download it.
It's in the world.
It's a cool song. I really like it.
It's different, right?
Well, it's different. I love sort of the fusion of acoustic and electronic, but what I really like, I like the song itself. I mean, it's a positive song. It's a hopeful song.
Surprise. I feel like that's something that I always think about, and sometimes I listen to the radio and I go like, man, it seems like there's a few songs that are like that, but there's a lot of songs that are just kind of pointless party stuff.
Yeah.
And like I really try to always have a story. I remember my brother one time, I have two older brothers, but my middle brother, I live with him, so obviously he hears all the stuff that I write immediately. I come home and I go, dude, listen to this, right? So he told me a while back, like, dude, I like your stuff because it's a full story that comes around. Like, it's not like just part.
Right.
It's done, you know, it's like there's a story, and I really try to do that, and I try to write, I would imagine I try to write a song in kind of almost a story format.
That's so old school of you.
Call me old school.
That's how songwriting used to always be.
Yeah, there's a story. It's supposed to be a story. It's supposed to make you feel something as well, something that we all can relate to.
Well, in this story in particular, positivity, the idea that things can and maybe they actually will work out.
Line up for the best, which I think, I mean, that in my own personal life, I kind of feel like that too.
Is that how you've always been? Were you like that as a kid? Because I always feel that way as well. Things can be tough. They're probably going to work themselves out, especially if you put that energy out.
Well,
there.
I can tell you that yes, it's how I've always been. But the reason I've always been that way is because I've always wanted to date older girls. So I've always put myself in the situation where we ended up breaking up, and then so I'd be like, maybe we're meant to be together some other time, and that's where the song kind of came about.
Has it always existed, the band? Because I know you had it together before you did Big Time Rush. You and Dustin,
yeah,
your partner, did this band. Did you kind of break up? And was there an idea that we would always get back together at some point?
Actually, kind of funny. There was always the idea, and the reason it was always there is because Dustin is the only member of a backing band that has been there for every single show, all over the world. So we've never actually, Heffron Drive has always been there.
Right.
And whenever both of us are on stage playing the acoustic stuff for Big Time Rush, it's kind of Heffron Drive playing Big Time Rush songs in a way.
So you're always keeping it alive.
Always keeping it alive. And now that I have more time, it's really coming alive.
Yeah, so you have a lot more time. Big Time Rush, obviously, the show came to an end.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the status of, because it appears that the band is still together, there was no official ending of that. What's the status of Big Time Rush?
Well, we never felt that it was necessary to put out like some press release being like, yeah, we're done, you know, because it's not like that. We all are exercising our freedom of time at the moment, which because we had more time. The TV show was 6 months of our time. So if you just think that's an automatic 6 months of whatever you want to do.
Right.
So that's what we're all doing now. And then the music, we all agreed, you know, if it was good for everybody and a tour lined up schedule-wise with what everyone else is doing, then there's no reason we shouldn't do it. So I said it, there's an interview the other day, they're like, can you tell us about, you know, is Big Time Rush broken up? And I was like, Big Time Rush never broke up, like ever. And I see tweets all the time being like, please tweet me saying that you guys aren't broken up. I'm like, I don't know, nobody has said it. Like, nobody has said it. But I can understand that, like, 5 years of heavy all the time and then, like, it kind of abruptly slows down. I can see people being freaked out. But, I mean, yeah, stuff slows down.
No need to freak out.
Times change. People change, you know.
Lives move on.
Making new stuff.
New stuff, but you never know what's going to happen. But obviously, being a part of Big Time Rush was a Big Time Rush. I mean, it was a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff that I do now is because of being part of that band. I mean,
what was the best part of being a part of the band and show?
Well, the performances, being able to perform all over the world, performing for anywhere from 500 people to like 70,000 people in a show. It varied. And then Big Time Rush in the States, we had one tour that we played for 600,000 people just in the U.S. and Canada. So we did like, that was our biggest tour by far, and I remember looking back and they gave us a plaque, the company that sponsored the tour gave us a plaque, and I look at that and I'm like, man, like that's a lot of people.
And you've been at this for a long time, and it's nice to hear that you're sort of not jaded by the whole process. I mean, what were you, around 5 years old when you got your first little thing in showbiz?
Yeah, actually it was here in New York. The first, like on TV was a Chex commercial. And I think I saw a photo. I don't know if somebody actually found a photo from the commercial. Maybe I was wearing glasses, but I was young enough that I really don't remember much of the actual process of it.
So it wasn't you who decided, I want to do this. I mean, you were living in Kansas. How do you, was it your parents saying, oh, let's try this life for you?
Well, like I said, I have 2 older brothers, so they were like, the story goes, my brother saw a commercial one time, and he was like, I want to do that. And then my mom was like, okay. And my dad supported it, and then ever since then, always supported it, and here we are now, like 16 years later.
It's crazy, and the number of different things. It's interesting to look back at the parts that you've had and the shows that you've done. So the other night, as I'm wont to do before I go to sleep, every night I watch Frasier. And the episode is on.
You saw that episode?
Where it's in the hospital. You might remember this episode, and it's showing scenes from the past of Frasier and Niles' life, including when Frasier and Niles were kids, and Niles is in a hospital bed having broken his leg. And there's young Frasier talking to him. I had no idea that was you until I just saw it.
Just for that one episode.
For that one episode. Do you remember your lines?
It was like, I'll trade you, I'll give you any one of my records if you don't tell Dad about the broken leg. And he goes, I want the Tchaikovsky. And I'm like, not the Tchaikovsky. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, sign here, initial here.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Like that, and it's funny, the memories I have of that, the filming I remember, obviously, but the one that's stuck in my head was the table read. And you can imagine I was maybe like 10 or 11 or something like that. And they're reading the script. And I'm just kind of like, oh, a table read, you know, look at all these people. And they're going through, like, sort of towards the end. And Kelsey Grammer is the one who reads all of the direction and everything for the table read. So he's going through it, and everyone starts crying, like, about the last 3 pages. Like, just bawling, everyone in the room. And I'm not affected by it because my emotions aren't quite at that level at that age. So I was just like, why is everybody crying? It was like, you know, he's reading the last page. He's like, and then... And I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That still is stuck in my head. And ironically, that stage that we filmed on was one of the stages that Big Time Rush filmed on. Wow. Like, 10 years later.
Well, I'm sure it was a great learning moment for you.
Yeah.
In terms of...
Cry at table reads.
Yeah, exactly. Show that you're really
every
invested.
Every time. They're like, this is a comedy. I'm like, I know, it is so good.
And now you're all grown up, and as are your fellow cast members from Big Time Rush, who you've been through so much with, Maslow.
Yeah.
He's on Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
And he's having great success, it looks like, so far.
Seems like it. Second week was better than the first week.
But here's the thing. I understand that you're also very good friends with Cody Simpson, who's on the show.
Yes.
So for whom do you root? What do you do?
I just saw Cody and James at the Kids' Choice Awards, and I was at the pre-rehearsal thing, so I saw Cody, and he goes, "You've been voting for me, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah, man."
Are you reaching out to your followers on Twitter saying who they should be voting for?
Look, I tweeted that they should vote for James. I mean, that's my dude. So, you know. Cody has a lot of Twitter followers. I think he'll be okay.
So Cody not annoyed with the fact that you're supporting James?
Dude, he's Australian. He's like, man, it's all good, mate. It's all good.
Everything's very chill.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes I'm like, are you awake? You know, because he's so chill.
Because he's Australian.
Yeah.
That's why.
Are you awake right now? Okay. I thought you were sleeping.
Nice. So, all grown up to that, all tattooed from what I understand? That's a big passion of yours. How many are you up
to? 8. And funny story about one of them is I have a friend who's really obsessed. She has 3 golden retrievers. She's obsessed with her dogs.
Right.
So every time I go over to her house, she shows me a picture of her dogs or some other dog or something. And the other day I was like, you're obsessed. You have a problem. Right? You have a dog problem. And she goes, hey, I didn't get a picture of my dog's face tattooed on my back. And I was like, touche. Like, I have a big portrait of my dog's face on my back.
Do you show this off? Is this something...
I mean, I love the tattoo. I can show it off. Yeah,
let's see. The tattoo?
I want to make sure this cord doesn't get all tangled up here. You have to help.
Or we could do it afterwards.
You have to help.
How high is it?
It's all the way up.
Oh, God. All right.
Bark,
there
bark.
he is. Oh, so this is...
Sissy.
French Bulldog?
Boston
Terrier.
It's so awful. I was in Colombia, and we were hanging out with some friends this last tour, and I showed the tattoo, and this one girl goes, so what are you going to do when Sissy dies?
See, now, why do people
out of the blue like that? Out of the blue. And I was like, I don't know, grieve? I mean, it's my dog. I mean, but I was like, that's the whole point of the tattoo was to you know.
Sissy is a part of your life.
Yeah, she lives on. That's the whole point.
And should you choose to get other pets throughout your life, you can fill up the whole back.
Yeah, exactly.
With tattoos of those pets.
By the way, to answer your question, no, I'm not done with tattoos. So that I have 8, and I'm trying to go this way now and come around.
Okay.
Yeah.
In addition to Twitter, which you have, what, 2 million followers at this point?
Just a little bit over.
Grom Social.
Yes.
That's a big deal, too, that you became a part of. How did you become the face of that?
Well, they have a really great anti-bullying campaign, and it's something that even the online version of bullying, I think, is just absurd. Like, I don't know, I guess I don't really ever send hate to people in any way, so I've always kind of thought it was ridiculous. And some kids, even though they shouldn't pay attention to it, they do, and it hurts them, and they end up hurting themselves. So I wanted to partner up with them because this stuff's just got to stop. So if I can help out at all, then, you know,